Hi everyone, welcome back to my second video on the Google search fad, where people have been putting their names in and put who, where, when, what, how, why, and then their names. When I got diagnosed with POTS 11 years ago, I would go onto Google and there would be literally hardly anything on POTS. Actually, when you first put pots in, it would come up with actual pictures of pots and pans or stuff about cannabis. And that was literally the first page of Google. You'd have to click right through to about 4 or 5 pages in of a Google search to find anything on pots. So I'm here now to find out what is out there now. I haven't really Googled anything for a while because having had pots for so long, I don't really need to research anything. I know what my symptoms are. I know what my body is doing. So let's have a look. So there's a ton of questions. What is POTS caused by? It says in some cases about underlying autoimmune disorders such as lupus, also viral illnesses. I think that's something I come back to later because there are 2 different types of POTS, and primary and secondary. So I can't remember because I've had to record this twice. I can't remember what I've already talked about. But primary is basically something caused like a viral illness, physical or emotional distress, where there's no other underlying medical conditions, and secondary is if it's caused by another medical condition. So for me, it's caused by Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So there you go. Can POTS be fatal? People with POTS syndrome may be understandable, blah, 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 but it says POTS is not a deadly or lethal condition. That is 100% true. It's not deadly or lethal. Some people may have complications of symptoms, but it's not directly POTS that cause it. Does it ever go away? It says, this gets me so bad, fade away by age 20. My POTS symptoms didn't get bad till I was like 19 or 20 at university, so that is false for me. How do you relieve symptoms of POTS? Increase sodium in your diet and drink. Yeah, this is what we're told straight away. Increase your salt and drink more water. It does say small and frequent meals are better. That is absolutely true, but you'd think they'd have more. I mean, I know there are probably more websites, but can POTS get worse? People will get better over time. However, some may remain sick indefinitely and may get worse. So it depends. I think secondary POTS is harder to get better from because my EDS and my POTS always make each other worse. Can it cause a heart attack? I've never heard this question ever, but basically POTS directly can't, but the symptoms like the fast heart rate and the palpitations and that kind of thing possibly might cause heart issues, but I've never heard it causing a heart attack. Is POTS a serious condition? It says, it doesn't actually tell you, but it says that it has a variety of causes. So that question's a bit kind of misleading because it doesn't actually have it there. Is it a real condition? Yes. But it says POTS is a disorder of young people, and I don't agree with that because I know people of all ages with POTS. Some got diagnosed young and now are older, or got diagnosed when they're older. So that's not true. Can POTS kill you? There's a big capital letters correction because it says POTS on its own does not cause the heart to stop. True. Is it a disability? Like with my EDS video, yes, if it stops you from working, if it stops you from supporting yourself and needing to go on benefits or needing a carer, then yes, it's definitely a disability. For me, it stops me going out. I have to use a wheelchair because I can't walk far. My standing tolerance is very low. So for me, it disables me in so many ways. Standing, sitting, walking, breathing, sleeping, everything. And if it stops you doing day-to-day things, it's a disability. Can anxiety cause POTS? This is a really important one. It says, while the symptoms of POTS overlap with the symptoms of anxiety, POTS is not caused by anxiety and are often misdiagnosed as having anxiety or panic disorder, which is so true. When I first got diagnosed with POTS, I'd spent 2 years going backwards and forwards to doctors, GPs, cardiologists. And because I was 24, I was told it was my anxiety, it was my age, it was the summer. It was too hot, apparently, to have POTS. Those kind of things. Is it a heart condition? No, it's an orthostatic intolerance is the primary thing. But technically, when I have a form to fill in and it says, do you have a heart condition? I say yes, because I get a fast heart rate and palpitations. Can it cause heart failure? It says patients with POTS have been reported to suffer a degree of functional impairment similar to other conditions, but no. Can POTS come and go? Mine has never come and gone. Mine has just stayed around. It says POTS patients may see symptoms come and go over a period of years. In most cases, with proper adjustments in diet, medication, and physical activity, a POTS person will see an improvement in quality of life. That's true. I have gone up and down and up and down. I've had good times and bad times. It really depends. Tests. This is very, very basic. It doesn't tell you a lot. The blood and urine tests are ruling out things. The sweat test is horrible. And the autonomic tests are, Why does it cause fatigue? For me, it says it's hard to describe, but for me, it's because my heart rate's going so fast that if I'm doing something really mundane, it feels like I've run a marathon. So that's why I'm tired. The John Hopkins website here is actually very good at explaining it. It says that there is no good criteria for assessing the level of fatigue. So you can't say someone is like mildly or severely fatigued, but I would say that our bodies are always working so much more times harder than any non-POTS person. That's why we're tired, and we don't sleep that well, so we don't get a decent deep sleep. So I'm usually tired because of that. So random one that came up, is Gatorade good for POTS? It said yes, basically you should drink between 2 and 4 quarts of water. This is American. In the UK, we don't have Gatorade. We have Powerade. Powerade's okay, but I would more suggest things like any electrolyte drink. Like Pedialyte is our version of Duralite. That's good. Anything that's got electrolytes in. Does POTS get worse? It says many POTS patients will get better over time, however some remain sick. They said that before, and there's no cure for POTS. So it depends on your circumstances and your lifestyle and your other illnesses, I think, for that one. Best treatment. Now, this is good. This is actually a really good list of medications. It says treatment for POTS that don't require medication. This is medication, so fludrocortisone is the first one I tried. My ankles ballooned. I gained weight. I couldn't get rid of the water, so that wasn't good. I'm on ivabradine, 5 milligrams 3 times a day. That slows my heart rate. Midodrine was the first medication I got put on. It's amazing. I came off it because I was on it for 8 years, and now I'm struggling to get back on it because my neurologist is saying that there's no point, but I'm a lot worse, so I need to go back on it. Octreotide I've tried as well. That's an injection into your stomach before you eat. It's supposed to help for people who have really fatigue after eating. It didn't work for me. It made me bleed. It was horrible. I felt awful. Pyridostigmine I can't take because I've got asthma. It really affects your breathing if you've got asthma. So if you don't have asthma, you can try it, but it's a very tricky drug to get right. Why does salt help POTS? It basically just increases your blood volume and raises your blood pressure if you have low blood pressure with POTS. That's what it does. I don't get enough salt, but sometimes it's really hard because you get so fed up with salt. And I have a sweet tooth, but when is spot syndrome? I know that doesn't make grammatical sense, but When was it discovered? This is something I have no clue about. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome I knew was named after the doctors that discovered it. But I really had to dig deep to try and find something about when it was discovered. So the POTS UK website is fantastic. It's the only POTS charity in the UK. It tells you what POTS is, all that kind of thing. It's really, really good website, good organisation. It tells you what it is, and all that kind of thing, but doesn't tell you a history of it, when it was discovered. So I went back and I continued searching and thought, let's go for Wikipedia. It's not always accurate, but it might hold some clue somewhere. And I scrolled down and I found where it says, keep going. History. Do you see that one? In 1871, physician Jacob Mendes da Costa described a condition that resembled the modern concept of POTS. He named it irritable heart syndrome. That kind of sounds like a combination of IBS and POTS. Cardiologist Thomas Lewis expanded on the description, coining the term soldier's heart because it was often found among military personnel. The condition became known as da Costa syndrome, which is now recognised as several distinct disorders, including POTS. POTS was coined in 1982 in a description of a patient. So, da Costa syndrome is a set of syndromes, one of which is POTS. I didn't know that at all. Very interesting. Go and have a look. Go if you want to look more. I wasn't going to put a huge long description here because this is a quickfire questions type of video. When is POTS? Great one to come up. Awareness Month. There is a POTS Awareness Month. If you didn't know, it's October. Dysautonomia Awareness Month, to be precise. An American term. Well, it's not an American term, but they use that in America more. But October is the month. Blue is the colour. And yeah, it's just, I post a lot. There's lots of things you can do to raise awareness for POTS on social media. When is POTS an emergency? Nothing came up there. For me, it's when I'm lying on the floor unconscious. That's when it's an emergency. Or when I fainted and hit myself. Or I'm so dehydrated I need fluids through IV. When does it develop? Now, this is interesting. In teenagers, it starts between the ages of 12 and 14. Rapid growth spurt, worsening symptoms until 16. But it says by 19 to 24, 80% will have no symptoms. For me, it's completely not true. I got my symptoms at university, so at age 19 or 20, and they progressively got worse until I was 24. And that's when I got diagnosed. So that is a complete lie. But I do know others who suffer with it in their teens, some even younger than teens, with fainting and that kind of thing is the usual first few symptoms. But yeah, that description is not for me at all. That's not true. Who is POTS? Nothing came up. As you can see, there's some really random things that comes up, and usually it's pots and pans and that kind of thing. Why is POTS? Now, I kind of forgot where I was because like I said, I did this video twice. So, because I forgot to record the screen. So, why is POTS worse after eating? When a meal is eaten, there's increased blood flow to the digestive system to help digestion. I always find if I eat too much of a big meal, I feel so faint, so tired. I just want to lie down. This is a great website, myheart.net/POTS-syndrome/diet. I didn't even know there was a POTS diet. I'm on the FODMAP. It says increase salt and water, which is basics, which we're told. But there's other things. I mainly follow it from ADS, but lower carbs and smaller meals, which is what I do. I have little and often. I don't have caffeine. I've never liked tea and coffee and like Coca-Cola and stuff. I don't have alcohol anymore. I found that when I first got diagnosed, every time I had alcohol, I was like a nightmare for 2 weeks. and I don't have energy drinks anymore. That was at university. And I have an intolerance to dairy and bloat with gluten. So, yeah, I follow the FODMAP. You do it for 8 weeks, complete elimination, and you add stuff back in. And I've discovered that obviously lactose, wheat, gluten stuff. And now I'm on a low histamine diet as well because I've got mast cell disease. So, but yeah, eating, I used to literally have dinner and then have to go and lie down, but it's not so bad now. I eat small and often. Why is POTS worse in the morning? Didn't know this. At night when you're flat, the kidneys eliminate a lot of excess fluid, which is why people with POTS feel worse in the morning, because retaining some of the fluid at night, blood pressure is higher in the morning. But for us, our blood pressure drops. So we lose the fluid and that's why we feel worse. Didn't know that at all. Thought it was something to do with blood pressure in your legs. So it shows what I know. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, by the way. So where is POTS? No. See, look, it doesn't. Pots and pans. It just is so hard. Where is the POTS video? Again, YouTube. It's all about POTS, not the illness. Just about random things. So I tried to find something else. And when is POTS dangerous? People with POTS syndrome, maybe I'm able to stand or walk for long periods. So yeah, it is dangerous. If you can't stand up for long, you'll faint. Or you can grey out when you know you're going to faint and you get to the floor in time before you faint. That happens to me too. Yeah, it can be dangerous because you can hit any joint. You can break a joint. You can really hurt yourself. So it is dangerous. Some people I know have fainted when going downstairs. That is really dangerous. What is POTS? So, NHS website. I did this for the EDS video. Should have probably done this first, but again, I was very surprised. It says it's most common in girls and women aged 15 to 50. I do know men with POTS, so they should put that it can happen in men, but not as common. But they don't say that. The symptoms are pretty much the most worst ones, but they don't put brain fog. They don't put anything about circulation being bad. So I was a bit like meh. But they do mention about the fact that you can be misdiagnosed with panic attacks and anxiety, which is good. And they put the new bit about that if you stand up and your heart rate increases by 30 beats, some people increase by 28 or 29. But now if it increases to more than 120 beats, in general, you can still get diagnosed with POTS, which is relatively new. So that's up to date. Self-care, never had that on the NHS one before when I first got diagnosed. It tells you how to look after yourself. Reducing your symptoms. These are really accurate. These are things that my doctors tell me now and that I do follow some of them. It has the POTS UK website, which I showed you earlier, which is extremely good. And Stars as well do cover POTS. They were the first charity I came across because POTS UK didn't exist then when I got diagnosed. Medication, it just says the same stuff that I found earlier. Causes, again, joint hypermobility syndrome, underlying conditions. That's secondary POTS. Primary POTS is the bottom ones, the poisoning and things like that. I know someone who was in a car crash who developed POTS, so it was a traumatic event physically and mentally. So yeah, people I know have developed it for lots of different reasons. Food poisoning, bereavement, even brought it on. But then there's lots of other reasons as well. And secondary, yeah, EDS is my one, but I know people who have POTS and don't have EDS. They might have another condition, like I mentioned before. But yeah, it's been interesting, very interesting to see what is out there. So go and have a look. Like I said in my other video, if you've got friends and family who want information, then direct them to the NHS website. If they want leaflets and more user-friendly stuff, I would highly recommend the Potsie UK website. Yeah, so if you want me to do more videos like this, click subscribe and hit the bell notification, because then I shall do more. I can do ones about gastroparesis, costochondritis, any other illnesses that are closely linked to EDS. I'm happy to do. So yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.